Can't see him, but I know he's there.
How dare you? The betrayal.
Repulsive Patrick.
How dare you? The temerity.
Did that really happen?
We are looking at a little screenshot from the from Patrick's Discogs entry.
It should be right here.
Where one of his aliases is listed as Repulsive Patrick.
I can't. That has to be some Razorback release.
Is that what they called you back in the day?
Well, no, on something, yeah.
Dude, I was fucking dying.
Yeah, you loved that, didn't you?
Yes.
I stumbled upon that. I was like, what? When was I Repulsive Patrick except in junior high?
Yeah, that's what I was. What I'm curious about is what obscure fucking album that you were involved in, like tangentially or otherwise, where you credited as Repulsive Patrick.
If you don't know Schuler, then I definitely
then nobody knows.
Well, dude, you've got shit that's you're a hard motherfucker to track down in the same way that Roger Johansson's a hard motherfucker to track down. Like, there's stuff out there. There's work that you've done out there.
I think it's all on.
Is it really?
Metal Archives? I think so.
Okay.
I mean, there's very few missing. Yeah, when I almost never go to Discogs, and so I went there to check it. I was like, oh, holy shit! And there's a lot of shit on there that I was like, oh, I guess. So I think Discogs might be pretty fucking comprehensive. But the little hey now, who's this now? We have a guest, ladies and gentlemen. We have a guest on the show, and the guest has left.
Our very first guest.
Thank you, Jenny.
And that was a free peek. I didn't even have to join the OnlyFans to
see the parts.
Those were some wonderful shorts there. Yes, good stuff, everybody. Yeah, this actually would be a good place maybe to advertise it for her OnlyFans. We could put a link right here.
Show the parts.
Fund the move. Fund the lifestyle. If we do a Patreon, which I think we should consider, something like if you pitch in $3 a month, you'll get a hand-drawn Fifi instruction manual from Trevor Strnad of the Black Dahlia murder. People would be like, okay.
With a mysterious stain on the paper, too.
Yeah, okay, that's exactly what I was going to say.
Is what it is. It's horrible what's going on in Eastern Europe right now.
Oh, good Lord.
But yeah, that's
by the horrible things in Eastern Europe. You're of course referring to those modern Steven Seagal movies he's shooting over there.
That's correct.
Is that what
I'm referring to the Steven Seagal atrocity that's currently underway right now.
We're all very worried about that.
Yes, indeed. And fuck that guy. Let me tell you something about running today, boys. And on Tuesday. Tuesday and Thursday are my long run days, and incidentally, on both of those days, I spend a lot of time listening to Runemagick, which is not the best running music, as it turns out. Latter-day Runemagick. First three records, absolutely. But more than anything, like during the runs, I was trying to familiarize myself with shit that I hadn't really heard.
So you're playing like a 12-minute song.
Yeah, and just like, I need something to happen.
And the guitar distortion gets down to where they're just playing clean.
Dude.
It's like, you motherfuckers.
I want the real shit.
That was something I noticed about that, like, mid-era, was like, it's not as dirty overall.
Yeah.
Like, I was really trying to be like, what's the X factor that's missing? Dial back a bit.
Evil.
The vocals. Yeah, the evil. It's the evil love. Slow and low.
Low, baby.
The tempo.
That
their cover of that Beastie Boys song was amazing. On that 1/7" when Runemagick did that. Sorry, Schuler, go ahead.
We're going to talk about Runemagick, but one of the cool things is it's going to spin out into other places, and we're going to talk about that shit too. Give us a little chunk of you talking about your hatred for the reissue.
I thought they were going to re-release each one the way they did with those Asphyx albums with the original cover art, but they kind of just went, nah, we'll just put it across 2 discs. 3 albums across 2 discs, cut it off in the middle, fuck it.
That's so fucked up. That really, to me is like a slap in the face.
Painful to listen to remastering jobs that were like just so like...
See, these are the only versions I've ever heard, so I don't know. I'm
Go
back
to their
in fucking...
Bandcamp.
I'm back in Cradle of Filth, fucking Cruelty and the Beast territory.
Oh, right.
I love it so much I don't even know to question whether or not it sounds good.
You go to the Runemagick Bandcamp, they have versions that they've approved, that they had their dude remaster. It's the ones that have the skull outline around the cover art. That's how you know it's the good edition, because the Century Media editions just look like this. But the new ones have like this skull border around it. I have not been able to find those. They sold out like fucking immediately. But those sound fucking perfect and amazing and are very respectful remasters. So that Century Media one is really just kind of painful to listen to. I was lucky enough to get the original releases of the first albums, a Studio Fredman, and then the second and third one were produced
Andy LaRocque, right?
By Andy LaRocque. Yeah, but boy, those albums sound great still. Like the drums on Enter the Realm of Death is one of my favorite drum sounds ever. Just the atmosphere of darkness on those 3 albums is very unique. And it's evil. Those are evil in a very unique way. And
sure,
like the first one is even kind of a black metal-y, but then Enter the Realm of Death and Resurrection and Blood are so just like the epitome of death metal atmosphere to me. Like a Scandinavian death metal atmosphere.
A lot of remasters that come out these days are like brick walled, I notice.
Yeah, sadly.
Why would that be?
I think it's just trying to like be part of the loudness war, right?
I'm the guy on the outside here. I'm fucking Joe Q Caveman who's like, all right, I hear this and there's riffs and it's good. When I bought the full dynamic range reissue of, I think it was Slaughter of the Soul, because like if there's a version of that I don't have, I'm just gonna buy it. That's just the way it is. I remember listening to it and being like, all right, so what full dynamic range means is quieter. That's what
for sure. But yeah,
what does it mean? So now you two educate me. Tell me what full dynamic range means and why I, as a consumer, should opt for it.
Well, I noticed that Trevor's not jumping up for this one, so I guess I'm going to have to talk about it.
Come on, Pat. Let's
it's on you, producer man.
All right. I tried to describe this on the Heavy Hole podcast, and I lost them immediately. So
you're a better podcast than them entirely. I'm just kidding.
Let's start a war. Let's start a beef with them. I love those guys. They're great. Okay, full dynamic range, what that really means these days is standards have changed for volume. The same way inflation works with money, inflation has happened with volume of records in general. It's pop music's fault, but it bleeds into metal because of trends and because if your music is on the radio next to this other song, it's gonna sound weak if it's lower in volume. It was all because of radio horse shit that this volume war started. But then it because of labels wanting to be on the radio, they're like, well, we're not going to release an album unless it's super loud, so make that new Dim U super loud. It's got to be louder than the new Cradle, or else we're not going to sound as good as them. And so you can, through technology, push things to a level that it's not even volume anymore. It's like you're just compressing things to a level to make them sound louder.
I remember that conversation was very prevalent during the release and around the release of Metallica's Death Magnetic.
Yes.
A record that I love, but which apparently everybody says sounds like fucking
so
dog shit.
instead of it having all these peaks and valleys, like when you're looking at the waves, it's just going to be like a bar because everything is brought up to like...
Yeah. You've literally smushed it to where it was a thing that looked like grass, but you smushed it to where it looks like concrete.
So like the FDRs are like how it sounded to the band hearing it in the studio being played back to them, I imagine.
Solid. I can appreciate that.
Like if you're listening to Anil Nathrak, it doesn't really matter if that's brick-walled. But, if you're listening to, I don't know, Necroticism by Carcass, that's a classic album with classic analog production and classic drums on it and stuff, and you want to let that breathe a little. It originally sounded fucking perfect, so you don't really need to fuck with that unless you're trying to be some asshole on the radio. So I don't know.
See,
hopefully that helps you understand it a little bit.
It does. It does help me understand.
By the way, Dan Swano is one of the people who pushes so hard against this, and all the bands that he mixes that allow him to, he will have them mastered at a level that he feels is perfect for the music, not to compete with anything else. And there have been bands that he's mixed where he says, well, they'll ask me to do that version, and then they also want the version that's going to sound crazy and all pushed up on the radio. So he does
if
both
you pay,
sometimes.
If you're willing to pay, you get Swano twice.
Exactly. Yes.
I saw him talking about how he was remixing Spectral Sorrows a couple of years ago. Holy shit, am I excited for that. What he did with the demo, like that Kernog, that sounded awesome.
Kernugia.
Yeah,
he actually dug up the real tapes and he did like a full, George Lucas on that shit. So
we need to do a Swano episode.
Oh, forget it. Yeah, we could do like 10 Swano episodes, just for his projects, then for his production. Yeah, there's a lot there. But Swano has been very much a dude who's trying to educate people about this. Are you writing down what we've been telling you? Because this is we're giving you some real D knowledge here. Okay.
I'm ready. I'm prepared. I got 3 different notebooks that sit on my desk for different things.
You know what, boys?
Yeah.
What's up?
I didn't even realize the Sacramentum connection to Runemagick until this whole thing.
Were you a Sacramentum fan?
Yes, I have.
Oh,
I
okay.
have Far Away from the Sun. I have the EP. I have one of the other full lengths too.
Good stuff.
Yeah, I don't know any
It's
Sacramento.
It's awesome. You'll love it, Schuler. So he was playing drums in Sacramentum. Like I didn't know
and
he was
guitar.
like this multi-instrumentalist
Yeah,
kind of guy
yeah.
either.
Fucking
Well,
evil
in
genius.
the first 3 Runemagick albums are just him. That's him on drums, him on bass, him on guitar, him on
that's
vocal.
so tight.
Yeah.
Those
Those are
explain some
his.
things.
Those are his solo albums, and then the one got that
Requiem
green-
of the Apocalypse.
Yeah, that was the one where his wife joined on bass. Emma Rudolphson. I think she brought all her witchy in occult energy to the band.
I did a little bit of digging around. If you look at Runemagick track listings, I don't know about every record, but at least on 2 of the records that I own, you see this recurring 444 number being used.
Interesting. I have not
Outro,
caught
there's,
this.
let's see, on Voyage to Desolation / Dawn of the End, which this is a weird version of this that I have. It's the Enucleation Records version. There is a track on here, it's an instrumental track called Incantation 444. On Darkness, Death, Doom, the opening track is called Intro CDXLIV, which is the Roman numeral for 444. And then the outro on Darkness, Death, Doom is called Outro 444. So your boy got curious, and I remembered you in a text message saying something about them getting more occult when Homeboy's wife joined. And so the first thing that I was thinking was of gematria. Are you guys familiar with gematria, if I'm saying it correctly?
Mm-mm.
Gematria is the practice of assigning numerical value to a name, word, or phrase according to an alphanumerical cipher. Hebrew alphanumeric ciphers were probably used in biblical times, right?
Yes.
So you've got these numbers, it's like 666, right? 444 is an interesting enough number. First of all, just in plain mathematics, it's what's called a Harshad number, which is a number in a given number base that is an integer that is divisible by the sum of its digits when written in that base.
Listen to this motherfucker. Listen.
I don't know what that means. There are a couple of different interpretations here for 444. There's something about an angel number.
You're really going on an Indiana Jones wild goose chase here, and I'm loving it.
Interestingly enough, nothing interesting happened in the year 444, according to Wikipedia.
Really?
Yeah.
It sounds like it would be full of bad shit happening.
Yeah,
I would assume.
People were pooping in the streets.
For sure.
In the streets,
For sure.
and then contracting diseases from that poop,
And,
turn,
yeah, lots-
bringing them into the home, infecting the family. Bad
Walking around in
news.
flip-flops in Brazil, as we know. Yes.
Pulling out those worms, baby. If we're talking about the shittiness of the Century Media reissue, like, number one, I'm grateful for it because I was able to get all 3 of those records at one time.
Good
in
exposure.
One clean and easy purchase.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and who knows how many people found Runemagick specifically because, like, when Century Media does that kind of shit, when Roadrunner did that shit in, like, 2005, I think it was, with those hits from the vault or whatever.
I love
Two from the
those.
vault.
I love those.
I think that that's a great way for more modern audiences to find out about bands they just didn't know existed at all. And one of the cool things about reissues, for me anyway, is the liner notes. I always love, like, in the first Soulburn record, which is like an unofficial Aspects record.
Yes.
That the ones I'm showing on the screen right now are all Death Certificate versions. This is the early demos from Evocation, who I guess I'm probably the only fan of Evocation.
I toured alongside Evocation.
Oh,
Dude,
when
that
they
fucking-
the reformed one. Yeah.
Yeah.
How was that?
I mean, it's just at the gates, man, but it's good.
I don't know. I feel they're very different, but I mean, same style, but different.
I think they listened to Slaughter of the Soul, and I said, why would we do anything but this? And
But their early shit was, they've been around before
shit,
at the gates.
Yeah, the demos. So the demos here were a lot more rough. And there's definitely like some more melodic parts, and you can see them sort of going in the direction that they would head in later. There was a song on here called Genesis that was written in 1992. They re-recorded it brand new. It sounds fucking killer. And one of the cool things about this as well, in addition to the tracks, is all of the extra stuff that goes into the liner notes. There's like a biography of the band. There's sort of a history of their output, where they are now, all that kind of shit. And with Evocation, you got one of those. With Gorment, you got one of those. With fucking Soulburn, you got one of those. But then, with these two fucking sets of two bands with really interesting stories, Runemagick and Comicon, there's nothing. I feel so betrayed.
Yeah, I get bent when the reissue doesn't have the original artwork.
I hate that. I hate fucking
that.
hate it.
And then, like, in that particular one right there, like, they split the best record down the middle. Like,
so you don't get that feeling. Like, you don't get that experience of listening to it all the way through.
And that's purely a financial decision. Like,
of
we
course.
want these units to pump out. Guys, come on. You could just put them on their own.
Well, they did that with Comicon too. They had 3 records. This is their entire discography. It's
May I note
the Worms of
Comicon,
God.
Comicon, who has an album called what now?
Megatrends and Brutality.
Thank you. I just wanted to throw that in for legal purposes. Okay.
So now they know.
Yes.
This is the same way. Their second record gets broken in half.
Please. Oh, that artwork is so shot.
Abysmal.
They have a few abysmal artworks in their catalog.
Yes, sadly. Yes.
It's like Rivals Monstrosity.
Remember putting your band on the front of the album cover? Like that's
yes. Like,
that's hilarious, dude.
Inferior devotees.
Yeah.
Where it's us, motherfucker. It's us. Yeah, like it's a hip hop album. Like, yeah, Immortal was big. You know, like it's just us, motherfucker. It's like the Ghetto Boys. It's like it's just us standing here.
It would be sick as fuck to see a black metal band like crouch in front of a stoop or something.
One picture of Immortal where one of them's got his arms crossed and the other one is like right behind him and it looks like he's holding him in his arms.
Fucking awesome. I don't know. I don't think I've seen
the back of Battles in the North.
I like when Horg is going like,
oh yeah, the Horg was on this trip for a while. He's like, show every chin you've got.
And he did. And the tits. And the man tits, too.
Yeah, I think that was like a thing in black metal. If you were like a big guy, just be like, I am so called to necro, I do not give fucks that I have
that
fat
shit,
tits.
baby. Own that shit. Trevor, do you have any Immortal stories?
I saw them one time outside, and it was at this festival in Finland, and it was during the day. And I remember, like, Abbott, he came out, and he was, like, kneeling down, like, to fuck with his pedals, and he stood up, and he was like, fuck the sun! And everybody was like, yeah! Fuck the sun! Yeah, it was cool. And we played with Abbott at this huge show in London. We were like, this was like kind of in the dark times there. Like they restarted songs only played a couple songs that didn't sound like they were, mangled. Like they had some people playing with them that like I don't think had even played with them in person yet.
Wow.
You know what I mean? Like it was so thrown together. Like
he had a very revolving kind of lineup with that new thing.
And like my familiarity with Immortal's catalog is cursory at best. I've never heard any of Abbott's solo stuff, but I do realize that he had a pretty serious problem with drinking for a little while. And like fucking congrats to the dude because seems like he's been doing good. He's got a new album, a record out.
Man, I love that photo of him with those fucking horns.
Yeah, dude.
Yes, I'm still here, motherfucker.
Dude, I enjoy how just tongue-in-cheek he's been, like the kind of character that he is, you know what I mean?
He's evolving into almost like a Lemmy of black metal.
For sure. That's kind of how I see it, too. The interview where he's, like, talking about his guitar proficiency and playing guitar and stuff is so awesome. And he's just like, I don't fucking know. And then I go like this.
Yeah. Where dark and light don't differ. That fucking song is amazing.
They're the same.
Does he say that for real?
No.
He says a lot of funny shit, though. He goes, and here we go again. And things like that. And a lot of
that to me sounds like he's having fun, and I like that. I listened to some black metal when I was in high school, when I was a kid. What was that other? It was dudes from Soul Reaper.
Yeah, that was cool too.
I've listened to them.
That's a cutout bin special right there.
Is it really?
Just no one picked up on it, I don't think.
Yeah.
Is that the one that was all the other members from Dissection?
Right.
I think that's exactly. It was like all the other guys from Dissection except John Notvite. Did you ever listen to fucking Dragon Lord?
Yeah, I got some.
Dude,
it's okay. It's like
I
old man's
fucking-
child light.
I found it when I was in high school.
Which
the
is
first
perfect.
The first Dragon Lord, I think, came out in 01 or 2000, maybe.
Something like that. Yeah.
And I remember getting that. I heard it's funny.
It's
I heard
riffy.
Dragon Lord before
It's
I ever
fucking
heard Testament.
riffy. Yeah,
It is.
which-
And I was just like, this is fucking awesome. I remember like that, getting that around the same time as I got like that first Suspiria record. I really liked that.
That was a great fucking
That
album.
was like
I
super,
loved that
yeah,
album.
super clean.
I remember that Suspiria.
Yeah,
Like,
that was like a
Shodol from Demu was on there.
very underrated thrash death album for
Yeah.
the time, which had a lot of Testament in it. If you guys remember, it really sounded like kind of like an updated.
Man, I'd have to go
Metal
back and listen to that
Testament.
again. I haven't listened to that record in a long time. They put
So
out
good.
everything they put out after that. I remember like checking out and being like,
Yeah, it went. But that first album, yeah, and very powerful, like unique kind of vocals where he does kind of a hybrid of the filthy and singing. I felt that was a really great album.
I need to go back and listen to that.
Yeah, fuck, man, you got a whole list of shit you got to check. What else? I'm kind of blown away. You haven't heard At the Heart of Winter, and see, this is the thing. We haven't even gotten into Sons of Northern Darkness, but
Yeah.
see,
I mean,
that's
I've seen
the one.
album cover.
Yeah, but sit on that. Like, digest At the Heart of Winter.
All right.
And then the next
Report
album.
back.
Yeah. That's your prescription from the metal doctors.
One of the things that I think is so dope about this genre, or this sort of collection of genres under the extreme metal umbrella, like I have been listening to this shit and collecting it voraciously well over half my life at this point, you know? And we can still come to bands in certain conversations where I'm like, no, I've never heard them before. I never checked
great.
out.
No, that's awesome.
The only
Yeah, it's
Benediction record that I had ever heard prior to the summer of 2019 when I started the radio show was Transcending the Rubicon. That was the only one I'd ever heard. I dove into that shit in 2019. I bought that fucking 6-disc collection that
Dark as
Nuclear
the
Blast
Season.
put out.
That
That
song
one I don't
was
have.
huge
I
for
don't
me.
have Darkest the Season.
You know why, Trevor? Because it was on that compilation. The Dark is the Season was on. I want to say it was on. Death is just the beginning.
Death is just the beginning too,
Yeah.
probably.
Had
Or
the song
one.
"Dark is the Season," and that song, incredibly beautiful, haunting acoustic guitar, like classical 12-string guitar. Very, very doomy, unique song for the time. It's almost, dare we say, Runemagick-y. Yeah, man. If we do a Benediction episode, Justin from Stormland's gonna lose his mind. He's like the biggest fucking Benediction fan.
Yeah, he is. He
He
loves
really worships those guys. The way I worship Carcass, he worships Benediction.
that last one was the Scriptures or whatever. The first one with Dave Ingram back for a while. That was really good. The one
I
that
don't know
I
if
went
I
back
checked that
to.
out.
It's good. It's good. The one that surprised me was the one that seemed to. There was sort of like a general air of malaise about the way people viewed it. But Grind Bastard, like
It's the
there's some-
cover art.
that shit.
The cover art,
cover
like,
art's
what
terrible.
the fuck, dude?
But like,
How many people like did that have to go
how many people
through?
had to okay
Yes!
it before?
Yes, I
It is
personally
terrible.
refuse to listen to that album, but I've
Dude,
heard
it's
it's.
a fucking-
I've heard it's great.
The
It's
album
like a-
is great.
It's got like a lot of hardcore feel to it.
It's still in the vein of like The Dreams You Dread, which I really
Yeah.
Oh,
love.
really? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
Yeah,
the
yeah.
opening song is fucking crushing on that Deadfall. That's good
Yeah,
shit.
Deadfall's tight. That second track, dun, 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 dun. Agonized. That's what
But
it is.
dude, the cover looks like
Yeah.
Lawnmower Man.
It does look like Lawnmower Man. I was just about to say, it looks like a Lawnmower Man 2 when he's like in fucking cyberspace or whatever. Doing the. I saw Lawnmower 2 in theaters. motherfucker.
Wow,
And
were
me-
you sitting by yourself?
No, man. Me and the boys went to see Lawnmower Man 2 in theaters.
Hell yeah.
We thought we were
No
fucking.
women. No
like
women
the-
wanted to.
Did Alana suck your dick during that, or?
No. I remember we knew that the first one was R-rated, but the second one was PG-13, and we were like, this is obviously the coolest thing that we could possibly see today. And so we saw Lawnmower Man 2, and I remember being like, this is booty.
I still haven't seen RoboCop 3 because it went down from R to PG-13.
Me
I was like,
too.
what happened?
I know. And they were like, "Oh, we have ninjas now." Like, motherfucker, those were two of the goriest sci-fi movies I've ever seen. You're gonna tell me you're gonna not have gore in this one? Now, I need to see people's bodies ripped apart by mech robots.
Yeah.
I need to see Red from that '70s show melting.
Yeah. That wasn't Red.
And wiping that
Can
guy
you
off his
fly,
windshield.
Bobby?
You can keep the gum. Bitches leave. Yeah.
Bitches leave.
Yeah, how do you go from that to PG-13? You're right. So yeah, I still haven't seen it to this day. Yeah, me too.
It's political protest, you know. We're really
One day they will.
they're feeling it.
There's a killer robot on the cover of that first Suffocation record. And that's tight.
That's not a bad segue. That wasn't bad.
Killer robot, right?
Is that a robot? Are you sure?
Oh yeah, that's
Yeah,
a robot.
there's like
It's
a
like
robot
it's like a
fucking-
mech, dude.
It's got like fucking buzzsaws and shit
And it's
sticking
like
off of it.
it's got little pincers and it's pulling people apart.
Yeah,
and
man.
things. I don't
Looks
know.
It's a bad
organic to
machine.
me.
Throw
It's
them up
like-
in the air and eat them, or what?
Like chopping mall on steroids. It's a bad motherfucker. You
But
don't want to
see,
fuck with the Suffocation machine.
Everything Seagrave paints looks organic to me. So I think that's some kind of a weird grown creature
Maybe
on
it's-
that planet. or
No,
something.
he's done a couple, like, you know, out in space. Massive killing capacity, had a machine. The key is futuristic.
We need to get Justin from Stormland on here to explain to us the difference between a
Yeah,
robot
he's a
and a mech.
mecha expert.
What's going on the cover of Skinless's From Sacrifice to Survival? Is that guy inside of a mech? Or
He's
is-
two within one.
He's inside something, and he's like.
But he's dressed as a Boy Scout, isn't he?
I thought that was like a military uniform. Rune magic. Rune magic.
What about them?
This is an episode about the band Rune Magic.
Is it?
I think with Rune Magic's mid-era, and again, I haven't heard anything except one track from their reactivated material, and that was a fucking 13-minute Doom song. I do think that Rune Magic has a lot of experimentation in that mid-era. I think it would be interesting for some of the younger crowd to check out some of the mid-era Rune Magic records and see how some of those outside influences are getting incorporated, because I feel like that could be an exciting thing for death metal to do now, you know? Love going back and sort of recovering either neglected or maligned or just shit that I didn't know about. Be like, bring this thing back, get some eyes and ears on it, and then see what the kids do with it. What's the death metal of tomorrow going to be?
They really turned up the incense for a while there.
Well said. Well put. That's exactly right.
They got it. It's stinking of patchouli in there. And
What's weird is it's not really stonery as much as it is incensey. You know, it doesn't
Right.
seem weedy to me. It seems
Right.
more occulty. It's hard to describe. It's very
Right.
much
Yeah.
their own style of death doom. And you're talking not doom death. You're talking death doom.
Let's explain to everybody the difference.
Well, you first, sir.
No, you first.
Me?
Both of you motherfuckers have
You
made that
gotta
distinction.
have more death than Doom to be death.
Gotta have
Doom.
more death than doom, and that's one of the things that
Temple,
Rune Magic.
like Temple of Void, Hooded Menace.
Yeah.
Who else we got out there that's killing it right
Did you guys ever hear
Rotting Kingdom?
Serpentine Path? It was
Yes.
relapse shit. It was a
Yes.
side project from the dudes in Unearthly Trance.
Yeah, that was
they
killer.
put out 2 records, and that shit was killer fucking death.
That was cool. Very,
Very-
autopsy-esque.
Yeah, slow and plotting, but also like just menacing. There's something about a good death doom record that, yes, there's more death there than there is doom, but it feels like they're holding back. Like, what I like is when it feels like it's this thing that's about to explode, but they're
Yeah,
containing
yeah,
it and
I got
keeping
you.
it slow. You know what I mean?
Right.
As
Like-
opposed to, because that you need that kind of intensity, because the sad fact of a lot of death doom, and I'm sorry musicians, but like anybody can do it. You know what I mean? Like a lot of
in
the
terms of the tempo.
Yeah, you gotta be
and
dynamic
simplicity.
and creative songwriting and
so Rune Magic later discography, I think there was like a vibe around it that people
Right.
associated that with the change in sound that maybe was less than desirable for a lot of the fan base or whatever. Dear viewer, you think that Rune Magic is only boring death doom death? You're fucking wrong, bro. And you need to go back and you need to check out those first 3 records, and you need to listen to the rest of the Rune Magic discography, and you need to tell us what you think in the comments. And you need to smash that like and subscribe button.
dude, for me, it's the first 3 records. Requiem of the Apocalypse was cool too.
Yeah.
Moon of the Chaos Eclipse, pretty cool, still in.
I'm surprised you like that one.
And then the reunion stuff I think is good. Into Desolate Realms being the better of the two.
That's going to be the first thing of theirs that I check out after
You'll
this.
like it. It's very much a balance of the very beginning and kind of the middle.
Yeah, like I think that they were away long enough and like, you know, like a kind of a cult following started around those early records. And they finally got a little bit of dues and were like, yo, this is the Runemagick people like. And, you know, like, let's
lean into it. And as long as they're having fun, you know what I mean? Like we said, like one of y'all said earlier in the thing, it's not like Runemagick's fucking rolling around in money over there. So I doubt this was like a commercial decision. Hopefully the music that they're making is music that they're having fun making and you know, if they're trying to recapture the spirit of those earlier things, and that's cool. If they're just trying to do some shit because they think it's fun, that's cool too.
I missed them when they came through Brooklyn, man.
Brooklyn? Wow, that's bizarrely rare.
When?
Yeah, for sure.
When were they on tour here?
Just like a few years ago now.
No shit, I had no idea.
Man, it's like they're one of those bands that barely ever tours, barely ever goes outside of, you know, their own country, you know, as far as I know, or outside of Scandinavia anyway.
If you were to ask me for my closing thoughts on Runemagick,
I didn't, but go ahead.
This is what I were to say. This is what I would say.
Mm-hmm.
I want to return to a point that I made earlier. And this is specifically, I have one person in mind whose name I'm not going to mention, but when they hear this, they'll know who I'm talking about. If you think that melodic death metal isn't death metal, and if you don't like melodic death metal, but you do like death metal, I think that you need to listen to the first Runemagick album. That is my closing thought. That's what I want to impart to you. I implore you to go out. I exhort you to go out into the world.
Exhort to obliterate.
And listen to the first Runemagick record, because I feel like if you can't quite place sort of catchy melodicism or like lush melodicism in death metal, if that doesn't seem to have, if there's not a place there for that for you, I feel like if you check out early Runemagick, you might be able to sort of open that gateway for yourself. Because I hope that you could open that gateway, because there's so much sick shit out there that you're not hearing, bro.
Enter the realm
Of
death.
Enter the realm of fucking death. But also, you know, deal with the supreme force of eternity as well.
Do I have to do both?
Engage. Yes, you have to do both. You can't stop. You have both, and you have both on multiple formats. Man, I'm fucking. That vinyl is looking good to me, my dude. I might have to try and run some of that shit down.
Good luck.
I got to fill out the rest of my Runemagick stack.
Yeah, it's time.
You got more than both of us apparently. Yeah, it's all. You were talking all CDs, right?
I have all CDs.
I think these two vinyls were the first time they were ever on vinyl. I don't think they were originally on vinyl.
This is my last. The Vader stack was just insane, and look at this little motherfucker.
Well, yeah, my stack is about the same piddleness of yours.
Very sad.
It just has some vinyl attached.
Yeah, I'm looking at like 9 or 10 records.
I have ordered every Runemagick album that I don't own that someone in the United States is trying to sell. So I'm still waiting.
I'll go worldwide, man. I got no bones about.
I will, but it sort of depends on what I'm looking for, and it depends on what kind of timetable I've got. These I wanted to try and see if they would get here before we did this show.
True. I had a Runemagick shirt that was weird.
No shit.
One.
It was the Enter the Realm of Death shirt, but it felt like it was some kind of weird printing process that like.
Interesting.
Like it felt like a Halloween costume, like a big rubber thing on the front of the shirt, and it made you get sweaty underneath.
Oh,
you know?
Wow!
I've got a Shin Saibo no Katamari shirt that's
really
like that.
With the ostrich on it?
With the fucking ostriches on the cover. Yeah, dude. When I saw that shit for the first time, I was like, I don't even know what this fucking band sounds like. Click, buying.
Yeah.
Because it is. Bunch of fucking...
Ostrich.
Like, I'm looking at the cover of this, and like I see Massacres from Beyond with giant flightless birds. Let's do it. Let's pull the trigger.
I love Asian metal.
Yeah, man, they're having fun.
They're having fun.
Put a bow on that shit.
All right. Well, was that your wind down, Schuler? Or do you want to?
Are we leaving
Now-
the realm of death?
Now it's time to exit the realm, you motherfucker. Exit the realm of death.
into the realm of death.
The realm of death.
The realm of debt.
Yeah, I'm entering the realm of death.
Ooh, oh man, I'll be in it for the rest of my life.
No, see this. I'm telling you,
God,
this
it's
show's gonna be
expensive,
hot,
boy.
baby. Once this Patreon hits the streets, we're all gonna be a Scrooge McDuckin.
Scrooge McDuckin.
As time
Multiple
goes
cars.
on, as time goes on, and we feel the need to do that. Trust me, guys. I've got a big list of
A big
bonus-
little.
a big little list of bonus perks and all kinds of shit like that we can do. All right, fellas, good day, fun day, good to see you, love you.
I love you guys.
Say it back.
I love you.
I
Peace out.
love you, Dad. Okay, I'll see you bastards in hell.
See you
Yeah.
now, you motherfucker.